Hey, everybody. Good morning, afternoon, good night, good evening. It's Felipe, your host of the Total Basis Podcast. With me, as always, is Sean Flannery. Sean, how you doing this morning?
We are awesome, ready to talk about the thing that drives fans always up a wall. Relief.
Cars.
Yeah. I was going to say relief pitchers because they always make you pull your hair out at the end of the night. Nothing like being up 4 runs and be like, oh, just got to get 2 innings out of the bullpen, and then you lose the game.
And then Edwin
Diaz. Yeah. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. Good vibes only. Good vibes only.
Okay, so don't talk about Edwin Diaz. Got it. Austin, how about yourself?
I'm all right. Ready to talk some relief pitching. Relief pitching is always very volatile and is weird. So I like talking about weird. So
It is very weird.
Let's get weird.
Yeah, and I see that Melvin's already talking. He mentioned Jason Isringhausen, Bill Pulsifer. He forgot about Paul Wilson, Generation K. I remember those teams in the 90s. They were supposed to be the next generation of starting pitchers, and I think only Isringhausen made a career out of it, but as a relief pitcher, not as a starter. Yep. But yeah, that was supposed to be the next big thing back in the day, and that's why you don't put all your eggs on the starting pitcher's prospect basket, because they can burn you like that. As we found out with Noah Syndergaard, and
he had a good career, and he's gonna have a good career. Come on, now.
30 already, man. Come
on. 30 is the new 27. Go look at Justin Verlander.
What is he, like 3? Well, we know Verlander is on. He has to be on stuff. Whatever. Some people would say this is libel, what I'm doing. Well, you know what it is. I don't believe anything anymore. I have been jaded. My trust has been put to the test, and everybody has failed it big time. I don't trust any of these players. The good ones are doing something. The bad ones need to do something.
The bad ones are doing something, but getting caught at it.
The really bad ones are, at least.
The Angels pitching staff has jaded me. So now that Syndergaard is on the Angels pitching staff, I'm like, I know he's going to be terrible.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
I know he's going to be bad. I know he's going to get rocked. Like, that's just
rocked
because he's on the Angels now.
Well, anyway, it's good times, but we're here to talk about relief pitchers. So Sean needs to give me permission to share my screen, but yeah, I think we're going to.
You do it. You have it. You got it.
All right. Well, let me try it again. There it is. So again, we always have a spreadsheet. If I could figure out which spreadsheet I'm using, because I have like a million spreadsheets open, but this one should be Devin Williams up at the top. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
So this is baseball savant data from last year. We'll quickly just go through it because I like talking about what these pitchers utilize with their stuff, starting with the off-speed percentage, which Devin Williams obviously leads all relief pitchers at 63.8% because he has a what now, Sean?
A wicked pitch. It's not a screwball. What were they called? The airbender. That's what it was. The Avatar, the airbender screwball changeup pitch from hell. I don't even know what it is, but really like it. And if Josh Hader gets traded, Devin Williams is going to be a steal for a bunch of people.
Yeah, well, I mean, my only issue with that is that the Milwaukee Brewers are loaded with relievers once again. Not as deep as years past, but you did mention Josh Hader, but he's always on the trade block. There's also, who else did I have here? Jake Cousins, who kind of showed up, and it's an interesting option. Aaron Ashby, we talked about him last year. Brent Suter, who nice little loogie. Well, they don't do loogies anymore, right? Because of of the new rules, but there's always guys out of the pipeline for the Brewers. So you're saying even if Hader gets traded, they're not going to look at Devin Williams that goes, you know what, you're more valuable in the 7th or 8th inning.
Possibly, that's always possible.
All right, well,
I'm very interested that Cesar Valdez, when we sort it by off-speed percentage, isn't there. He was the reliever for Baltimore, and he throws like nothing but changeups. I don't know, just interesting. He was really bad, but he got a lot of saves the last couple of years.
Austin compiled the pair down list, so he did make the cut. Sorry, make the cut. We can't get everybody in here, otherwise the spreadsheet would be like
1,000 pages.
1,000 pages and all that long. Anybody else? I mean, off speed, as you guys can see, is not a very popular pitch among relievers. But anybody, let's go down a little bit. Anyone else on this list? How about you, Austin? That kind of catches your eye, like, whoa, that guy throws nothing, a high amount of off speed pitches, and he's good or bad or what?
No, I think I want to spotlight Aaron Ashby again.
Always. Right?
Not this guy again.
Let's talk about Aaron Ashby. Yeah. I mean, he's a name that has been popping out for a while for me. I really like Aaron Ashby. I don't know if there's anything else to say about that. I think he's going to be pretty good if he can get into the rotation, because that's going to be the next problem, because the Brewers have a good rotation. So you got to figure out how to fit him in there.
Okay. So yeah, he was in our rotation piece. That's why I blocked it out. I turned off the screen sharing because I wanted to make sure it was. Didn't we talk about him already when he went the rotation? So I know we do sparks, but the whole object for me, at least from my standpoint, is to have these separated. You know what I'm talking about? Like I don't. Yeah. It's just relievers are relievers, and the starters are the starters, with the idea that they can be relievers and vice versa. So yeah, note to self: remove Aaron Ashby from this list because he's not wanted on this list anymore. Because he's gonna be a starter. You'll see, like Austin says. Well, I don't know, Sean. What do you think? Can Aaron Ashby? Where do you see Aaron Ashby fitting in the long run?
I think he's definitely a starter going forward. But yeah, there's going to be several guys on this list that I think will go back and forth. I mean, Jordan Hicks the Cardinals are trying to ramp him up to 80 to 100 pitchers to be in the rotation this year.
Yeah.
Guys like Tanner Hook and Garrett Whitlock, who kind of went back and forth between, Whitlock was nothing but in the bullpen in 21, but Hook, went back and forth. And I think they've told both of them to stretch out to become starters. And I guess whoever loses the battle just goes back to the bullpen. So there's going to be a lot of guys that are kind of, in between, absolute tweeners right now.
All right, let's move on to breaking pitches. I'm just kind of setting things up here. We're going in reverse order compared to what we were doing with the starters. So let me just open up the screen again, and here we go. Breaking ball, average spin. Now, relief pitchers, they're just being told to go out there and just throw it as hard as you can, and just, it's like my video game mentality or my anime mentality just says, man, I see a guy with high average velocity, or I'm sorry, a high average spin on their breaking pitches. And I just see like a ball that just spins forever and just breaks in all types of directions, and it's zooming in and out of the strike zone. Anybody on this list that you see here, from Chris Stratton at number 1 all the way down to Josh Stallman at number 23 down there, anybody do that for you, Sean?
I mean, we talked about Stallman a lot last year. I still like him. Right behind Stallman is Drew Smith, who pitcher for the New York Mets. He was a part of the deal that sent Lucas Duda to the Rays, I believe, and or the Dodgers when they traded for somebody. Anyway, but he's got a really good cutter. It's not as hard as someone like Emmanuel Clase's cutter, but it gets a lot of wicked movement, and he uses it kind of off of his four-seamer. He's a guy that if you're in a holds league, I think he's going to be one of the Mets' better late end relievers, especially right now. I mean, they're missing about 2 or 3 relief pitchers. Familia's, just signed with the Phillies last night. So Drew Smith might be a guy that picks up some valuable innings.
Austin, how about you? Anybody on this breaking ball spin list that you like?
That I like. It's funny because I was just looking at somebody. I was like, "Wow, he's on this list." Okay.
Or don't like. Sorry, like or don't like.
Yeah, I was really looking at Sean Newcomb.
Mm-hmm.
when you look at Sean Newcomb, he's up here on breaking ball average spin, but yet he throws 83.5% fastballs, and he hasn't become the starter that the Angels or the Braves thought he was going to be. So I'm just shocked that he's up here, and he's way up here on average breaking ball spin, but he only throws 15% breaking balls. Why isn't he throwing more breaking balls?
I mean, that kind of goes the same with Tyler Matzik, who's up there in that top 10 too. Is he threw almost 70-80% fastballs last year, and that was his go-to pitch. Just he threw fastballs in the zone and was like, hit my best stuff, but it had a really good slider as well.
Yeah, and Sean Newcomb's always been so you got Tyler Matzik at number 10, Sean Newcomb number 13 here on the breaking ball average spin. Melvin's saying that everybody's going to be like Willie Hernandez anyway from 1984. So what, they're going to have that one really good year and then just disappear from the face of the earth? No, I'm joking. He was really good, Willie Hernandez, 1984. But Sean Newcomb's always been a guy with the good stuff, just he couldn't command it. And remember that was a big deal among Angels fans when he got traded for Andrelton Simmons, and Angels fans were pretty pissed off. But Newcomb hasn't done anything for them.
Nope.
So, and not even out of the bullpen. But he's always an interesting name because he has stuff. He always has had stuff. So, and that's why you see his average spin is up, because it's damn good stuff. I know I've been using that a lot, that word lately, but it is. That's what it is. That's why you see guys like Sean Newcomb, because you're hoping that promise will finally break through and he can become the pitchers that all these scouts thought that he could be. I think we talked about this last time, that velocity on breaking pitches don't matter, but you got Emmanuel Clase at 91.9 miles an hour on their breaking pitches, right there with Edwin Diaz, Michael Fulmer, who's making kind of a little bit of a comeback as a relief pitcher, Tyler Kinley. I forgot what team he plays for.
Oh God. Keep going. I'll figure it out.
Actually, Sam Coonrod, who was that was one under the radar trade, right, from the Giants to the Phillies. Is that?
Yeah, that was, I think, during the pandemic year as well.
Yeah, it was a pandemic. I remember we talked about that for a little bit, and we kind of made fun of his name, but we can't make fun of the results, I guess, right? Rockies. Tyler Kinley
Rockies,
for the Rockies.
Wait, I remember the name from when he was in Miami. That's what it was.
Okay. And then there's another Jorge Alcala, who's I thought he was with the Brewers, but no, Jorge Alcala is with just bear with me here. If my computer could just
Twins
cooperate. Yeah, he is the Twins. He's I have him listed as the second guy behind Taylor Rogers. So I guess I liked his profile just enough to make it a note that I should probably keep an eye on him. But aside from the top six that I just mentioned there, let's start with Austin again. Anybody you like or don't like, or have a question as to in terms of the breaking ball velocity there, Austin?
I'm not touching Brusdar Gratterall with a 10-foot ball.
Oh yeah, you talked about that before, but just give me a quick synopsis as to why not.
He throws 9,900 mile an hour sinkers. You would think he'd be getting swing and misses, but he's more of a ground ball pitcher. I don't trust that. When you got somebody that's throwing 100 miles an hour, when you start throwing that high, it's very difficult to keep consistently having your pitches do what they want, do what you want them to do. So, you may get that 100 mile an hour sinker and it is deadly, but when you're throwing 100 mile an hour sinkers, sometimes those don't sink and then they become a straight fastball. And since he's more of a contact guy and not a strikeout guy, these hitters hitting 100 mile an hour fastball, it's going to leave the yard. I don't trust Brusdar Gratterall. But then right underneath him is Liam Hendricks, who is probably going to be one of the most coveted relief pitchers in fantasy drafts. It's probably him and Hader, I would think.
Yeah,
the top two relief pitchers to go in the drafts this year.
Yeah, that's usually the consensus. It's been like that almost 2 years. I know I dropped Aroldis Chapman on my list as well, just because last year left a pretty nasty taste in my mouth from him. Sean, did we get to your guy here on the breaking ball velocity?
Yeah, there's a couple of names. I guess one, if I had to go with one, would be Tanner Rainey. That Washington team is really kind of in flux right now. They made a couple of relief pitcher signings. I believe Steve Cishek was one of them. But Tanner Rainey, like when you think of the closer profile, the guy with the best stuff in that bullpen, it's Tanner Rainey. And we've seen glimpses of it. Major control issues, but throws the hard slider, hard fastball. I really think that this could be like a breakout year for Tanner Rainey, where he's one of those guys who gets like 20 to 25 saves on a really bad team.
Yeah, I saw that Nationals, the Nationals bullpen, and it's in disarray right now with Kyle Finnegan, Will Harris, Francisco Perez, Patrick Murphy, Andres Machado, and those are the guys who might do something. But yeah, I have the Nationals listed as the 29th best bullpen, I guess, situation in terms of fantasy and maybe overall as well, just in front of the Rangers and the Rockies. Rockies are just miserable. What a miserable team. It would suck to be a Rockies fan. Should we do breaking ball percentages? Yeah, let's do that. Let's take a look as to.
Oh yes, thank God. I wanted to talk about one of these guys.
So Matt Whistler's at the top of this list, and then Austin Adams. So Matt Whistler's the only one above 90%. Usually this is guys who like Sergio Romo who throw nothing but sliders and curveballs. Matt Whistler has kind of overtaken that from this spot. I remember Matt Whistler not being this good. Did he find something in these breaking ball pitches?
Yeah, it was when he was traded from like San Francisco to the Giants. He was already starting it a little bit with the Giants. And then, of course, he's in the bullpen, and he just threw nothing but a slider. I mean, I think he threw like 27 straight sliders one time.
He's in Atlanta, right?
No. He used to be. He was an Atlanta prospect, and like that was where he came up with.
That's what I meant.
He was with the Twins. He's with the Twins now.
Oh,
or he might be a free agent.
I haven't listed it as with the Rays at the moment.
Oh, was he traded? He might have been traded.
Well, you told me that he got traded from San Francisco to the Giants. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Okay, he was with the Twins in 2020, and he was on 2 teams in 2021. So probably went from Twins to Rays there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that was a name that kind of caught me off guard. And the Rays are just loaded. That's a situation where there's just too many relief pitchers there. I mean, it's great for baseball, real life baseball, but for fantasy, it's a major headache. That's why I dropped them down to number 22nd. Is that too low as a bullpen in terms of fantasy there, Sean? Or is that just about right?
I'd say that's probably about right.
Yeah, Andrew Kittrich is listed as the closer at the moment. So we'll see how long that lasts. But I see a lot of these guys getting at least 10 saves each. Again, great for real life baseball, but misery for fantasy leaguers. Austin, who's your guy here on the breaking ball percentage here?
The one that jumped out at me is Camilo Doval.
Yes.
Camilo Doval. What really jumped out at me is the outside the strike zone swing and miss percentage, and then his contact percentage. That's pretty. Both of those numbers are pretty high, but I mean, when you're making contact outside the strike zone, I wouldn't necessarily think that you're getting very much solid contact. So, I would be really interested to see Camilo Doval's numbers. I'll just have to pull them up really quick and see what he did last year.
He took over the closer's role like in the playoffs at the end of the year, and he started sharing a lot of time with Jake Mcgee. Was kind of like the right-handed, because Mcgee had the majority of the saves, but that was just because he was their best relief pitcher. But Doval really blew up in the postseason.
So in 27 innings, he had a 12.33 K percentage, a 12.33 K per 9, 3 walks per 9, 1 1.3 homers per 9. He had an ERA of 3 and a FIP of 3.47. So not bad.
No, it's very promising. It's very promising.
It's definitely very promising. But when you're getting that many swings and misses outside the strike zone, I would say that's cause for at least taking a look at him anyway. Maybe not necessarily drafting him, but taking a look at him for a waiver wire pickup.
No, I think he's going to get drafted.
No, he's getting drafted in a lot of leagues right now. Partially because he is a right-handed reliever. He took over the closer's role in the postseason, where they moved Jake Mcgee into kind of like a fireman role. And he had a really good postseason. But before we move on from breaking ball percentages, Felipe, just come back to me. No. Austin Adams. We haven't talked about Austin Adams. He had the funnest season of 2021, where as a relief pitcher,
hit everybody, right?
As a relief pitcher, he set the damn major league record for most hit by pitches.
Wow.
He hit 24 guys. And I just had his innings up. It was like 42 innings. Right here.
I listened to the Fangraphs podcast, Effectively Wild, and they talked about that guy almost every podcast. They were like, well, Austin Adams hit another guy.
Yeah, wow. 52 innings. He gave up 28 hits. He hit 24 batters and walked 35. They couldn't hit him, but he had a 1.2 whip. A high walk percentage, a strikeout percentage over 30%. But oh my God, it was like the funnest thing in the world. Like the teams, who did he play for? The Mariners or Padres. The Padres, Don Orsillo and everything were like in with the chase. Like they were chasing the 24 hit by pitches. And when he finally hit it, like everyone went crazy. It was a lot of fun.
The Padres are an interesting team. I always like the Padres bullpen, and this year's no exception. I have 9 guys. I mean, Sean, you know that we play in the Holds League, and we require a lot of relief pitchers just to be on our starting lineup. So I always got to make sure I'm prepared for this league. I have 9 guys on that Padres team that I need to look out for. But Pierce Johnson is listed as the closer.
Oh God, that doesn't sound very good.
I have Dinelson Lamet as the first man up, or at least the guy who should be first man up to get those saves, followed by Emilio Pagan, and there's Luis Garcia, Austin Adams, so on and so forth. That should be a fun bullpen. But I mean, you obviously scoffed at Pierce Johnson. Who do you think should be the Padres closer?
I think they're going to get if Kimbrel gets traded. I think San Diego's a really good choice. I also could see Kenley Jansen going there as a free agent. I mean, I think Jansen goes back to the Dodgers, but I think they're going to be on the lookout for one of those top end relievers.
All right, let's move on to fastball average spin as we continue to look at the StatCast numbers for relief pitchers. I wasn't going to do it, but I figure I have too much fun. I just have too much fun talking about the StatCast numbers from last year. And what better way to talk than about these numbers than looking at relief pitchers? Because like I mentioned, all they do is just throw hard, and they have all the spin and all the breaking pitches that just are otherworldly. And we have a couple of guys here. I mean, Daniel Bard, man. So there's another guy from Colorado that kind of shows up at the top of this list. What was the guy's name? Tyler Kinley with the breaking pitches, and now Daniel Bard with the fastball average spin. Unless you guys want to talk about him, I really don't want to talk about him. I mean, the Rockets are going to be bad.
Alex Colomé is going to be their closer, and you know he's going to get drafted, and he's going to be on a lot of winning teams, and it's literally going to piss me off because it's Alex Colomé, and he'll get like 15 to 17 saves and have like a 5 ERA.
No way, man. Do not draft.
I'm not drafting Alex Colomé, but I know he's going to be on a lot of winning teams.
It's so dumb. Yeah, I mean, I guess in traditional 5x5s, maybe he could be, but he was so bad with the White Sox. He was bad with the Twins. When will people learn, man?
But he got a lot of saves. Like
that's why saves is such a dumbass stat.
I know. I know. I'm telling you, I know.
Listen, for fantasy purposes, it's great, right? It's fun. But from a real life standpoint, from just like how do you value a relief pitcher, it is a really dumb statistic when you really think about it. But
absolute worst. I agree.
All right. Well, Austin, any name from the fastball average spin that catches your eye?
You know what really jumped out at me was, and we'll just talk about him really quickly because I think we've talked about him in previous pods already. Colin McHugh has been on every single one of these lists. Like somewhere in there, or in most of them anyway, I've seen Colin McHugh's name. So, you know, he's up there in almost everything. So, you know, might be a decent little pickup there. If you're looking for, I don't know, inning, because he's not going to get you saves. So, you know, you're looking for innings or strikeouts or, you know, something of that nature. You probably might want to look at McHugh coming out of your or is he going to be a starter?
Yeah.
No, bring him home, Mets. He's originally a Met. They need to bring him back. He's like going to be the Seth Lugo 2.0 that we actually can throw on back-to-back days if needed. But
there's another guy.
Yeah, he's got him and Lugo, and even to a degree, you know, Trevor May, but Trevor May's become more of a dedicated RP now, but they still have, you know, their starters arsenals, and McHugh is just really fine-tuned a lot of his pitches over the years. He's a guy that the Mets could sign him and maybe someone like some random lefty reliever, and I'd call it a day, and that'd be like the greatest offseason ever for them.
Yeah, Colin McHugh, there's a guy who started as a starting pitcher and has found a really nice niche as a relief pitcher. I thought he had a really good season last year with the Rays. Let's go down. Let's go real down. I mean, can you survive with really bad fastball average spin? Sean, let's start with you. So from Bailey Falter all the way up to Andres Machado, who is the guy we need to look out for?
Oh, good God.
Look at Josh Hader at the bottom of this list, but look, he's pretty good.
I will say this, Aaron Bummer.
Oh, what
about? But that's kind of a cheating. I'm cheating there because his main fastball is a sinker, and he has like one of the best ground ball rates all in baseball. So yeah, I'd say Aaron Bummer's a fun name.
And you're a Statcast guy more than I am. I mean, we're seeing some big names here. Josh Hader, Aaron Bummer. I see Lou Trevino, who, for better or for worse, he is, somewhat dependable. I mean, Oakland is going to entrust him again unless they do some moves, which I doubt. They're actually trying to get rid of players.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you think? We talk about this every week, it seems like, but for relief pitchers, is fastball average spin something of importance, or is it not really that important?
It's not as important as when we first, discovered it, because it's less about just the raw spin as it is, raw spin is just a factor of everything. And we know Josh Hader, his spin rate, I get, because I'm trying to go down here. Spin.
Well, while you do that, another name I'm seeing, Ryan Thompson. That's a guy I could trust. Diego Castillo, somebody I like a lot as well. He's at the bottom of the list.
My guy, Diego Castillo.
Yeah. Any luck there, Sean?
Yeah. So, I mean, his, in terms of vertical movement, has been one of the best, even at a lower spin. And of course, we know how elite of a pitch it is. I mean, it's one of the best fastballs in baseball. So I'd worry about it less with somebody like Josh Hader, just because he's established he can do it.
Yeah, of course. That's why I'm asking, because we're, like I said, I'm just naming off players and pitchers that I like this guy, I like that guy. I'm at the grocery store. Speaking of guys, Joe Kelly, he just got signed by the White Sox. His fastball velocity is down on the depths of the sea here. Austin, let's go with you now. Is there a pitcher you want to talk about from the next tier up from the bottom of the list here?
Jose Alvarado is always a fun one to talk about, just because his fastball, he's got high velo of fastball, so it kind of surprises me that he's down here with as high a velo of a fastball as he does. But he'll get you strikeouts. I don't think he's going to be the closer. He's on the Phillies still, right?
Yeah. It looks like they're sharing duties, but if Corey Knebel doesn't win that thing outright, I don't know. It just screams that Corey Knebel should be with the guy.
I had completely forgotten they signed Knebel before the lockout. I completely missed that one.
Yeah, man, that's why we do all the research beforehand. Let's move on quickly to the big one, fastball velo, and it should be a who's who of reliever. There, Emilio Clase at number 1. Gradle, I know Austin doesn't like him, but you can't teach that. 99.4 miles an hour. Anthony Goes.
Yes, Anthony Goes. I love it. Love it.
So those are the big guys with the big 99ers there. But those are the obvious names. Let's go down. Let's go down to 95 just to make it interesting here. So anybody above 95, beginning with Tony Santigan at number 82, all the way up to AJ Puk. Let's start with Austin this time around. Is there a person you want to disclose here?
I'm looking. Andrew Kittrich was pretty relevant, or was, I don't know if he was pretty relevant, but he was kind of relevant last year in terms of fantasy. I know I picked him up a couple times when I needed a reliever in some daily leagues. So I think Andrew Kittrich would be an interesting pickup. AJ Puk makes me mad because I drafted him in a league and he got hurt, and I was like, oh, and I think what made me mad was it started a train of, I just had so many injuries on one of my teams, and it started with AJ Puk, and I was like, come on. And he was one that he never came back. And I was like, man, I was really trying to, I was really riding that, oh, he's a highly touted prospect, and it came back to bite me in the ass. So, but AJ Puk would be interesting. But I think the one that I would look at is Andrew Kittrich. That one was always one that that always popped out at me when I was taking a look at who I should pick up for that day or that week.
Oh, I was confused. Sorry. Corey Richmond asked the question. Corey, good friend of the show here. Who in National League only roto leagues, who should be the number 1 pick? Should it be Juan Soto? Didn't we establish that already?
Trey Turner.
Oh, Trey Turner, right? Roto.
Yeah. Trey Turner.
Oh, there you go. So I put down Josh Hader thinking that he was asking about relief pitchers.
Oh.
But yeah, maybe Josh Hader too. Why not? What's this? I was listening to the Rates and Barrels podcast in preparation for the show, and they were talking about how high the price on relief pitchers have gotten. And it just showed, and I just couldn't help but think, really, that the price went up. I know it went up for a reason, but it's gone up. But hear me out here, guys, really quick. And I just realized how privileged and sheltered I am because I'm in, fully customizable leagues, as you know, Sean. And relief pitchers, they're mad at this point. Like they're just they're out of sight, out of mind. I mean, Josh Hader, Liam Hendricks are the top guys I'm chasing as well with Emilio Clase, and then it's just a bunch of maybe I'll get him, maybe I don't. I don't care. What were we gonna say there?
Oh, mine was in terms of when you talk about the price going up. Completed my TGFBI draft this week, and I picked in the third and fourth pick was if I could actually get this to work. I had both Diaz and I believe Clase in the third and fourth round. And I was happy to have them.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be like, and of course, anyway, yeah, there was a lot of them going way up boards very early in a lot of the TGFBI leagues.
That's interesting. I know, like I said, that's what the guys were saying. Eno, Sears, and DVR were saying that you need to raise the price has gone up, so you need to really chase after these guys. And they were like, there has to be a better way to do that. I mean, that's kind of what we just talked about, but you could hear Eno and DVR being frustrated. There has got to be a better way to gauge the quality of a relief pitcher besides. Like, well, there's not. Sorry. I mean, even they said, well, if you want to use other statistics, there's going to have to be some heavy lifting. Well, no shit. That's why saves continues to be, and then holds too. But it's a big thing with fantasy leaguers. Anyway, I went ahead and did the fastball percentage as well. This will be the last thing. Maybe we'll talk about some of the. We'll see. But I'm kind of interested in a lot of this stuff. But yeah, here it is in all its glory from number 98.9, Emilio Pagan. He uses his fastball a lot, like it's going out of style. And then just a bunch of guys in the high 70s. So start with Sean. Who's your guy at the top of the list here?
I did not think Emilio Pagan. I thought he threw like a splitter a good bit, at least when he was with the Rays. I don't know. Probably gonna go with. Oh God, I'm not really a fan of any of these. Aaron Loop, former Met, probably go him. He's got a lot of the fastball, cutter, sinker. It's not really a true fastball. It's just a lot of moving it around side to side. I thought he was a great sign for the Angels. So, yeah, and then, of course, you have Jake Mcgee, who throws nothing but four-seam fastballs.
Yeah, and he was talked about on the Rates and Barrels podcast, the episode I was listening to from February, saying that I didn't realize, we talked about the starting pitchers being bad because they weren't allowed to use the sticky stuff anymore, but I completely forgot about, relief pitchers need the sticky stuff as well, and they were talking about how Jake McGee's profile kind of went down, the numbers that Eno Ceres uses to gauge pitching, that his stuff went down as soon as the crackdown on the foreign substances was enforced by Major League Baseball. So that's why Camilo Doval is going hot and heavy. I have him. Camilo Doval is like my number 15 guy just because Jake McGee is always right behind him. But yeah, it's kind of food for thought there.
Okay, so this makes more sense on Emilio Pagan. He technically, his top two pitches that he throws the 98.9% of the time is a four-seamer and a cutter. But his four-seamer, he throws it at 95, and the cutter's at 86. So it kind of plays probably more like a slider as a change of pace rather than just a true like fastball velo cutter. Or yeah.
I mean, listen, fastball, breaking ball, and changeup. That's like the most general way of categorizing these pitches. Because if I were to do all of the pitches like that, I would need a separate spreadsheet because this would go on forever.
Oh yeah.
Let's go down. Let's make it interesting for Austin. So that's Sean.
I would be careful with Aaron Loop because his role on the Angels is going to change because Raisel Iglesias is going to be the closer.
Yeah.
I mean, Loop wasn't a closer for the Mets either. So, but I think in terms of like a whole save and holds league, like Loop's pretty valuable, I think there.
Yeah. What do you think about the price of Familia now that you have DeGrom, Scherzer, and Bassett all as the top three starters? Because he was the reason why I was talking about him because he's 18th on the list here. I feel like with those three now, I feel like Familia's price is going to go up, or he's going to get drafted higher in leagues because now there's a better chance of him collecting saves.
He's on the Phillies. He's on the Phillies.
Oh, he's on the Philly? I thought he was on the Mets.
No, he signed with the Phillies last night.
Right.
$6 million deal. it's kind of sad to see him go. He's been on the Mets for almost 11 years, but with a slight hiccup in Oakland, but that was it.
I
thought I had a good question, and then
you're flying up here, and then boom.
Yeah,
I have 9 relief pitchers. Thanks to Austin here, I have 9 relief pitchers listed as free agents that are worth monitoring. Familia was like number 9 on my list, so I'm like, out of sight, out of mind there. All right, I was gonna ask Austin. Well, let's give Austin a chance to redeem himself after that Familia debacle. So at 73, let's go 73% or low or less of the fastball usage on this list. Who do you want to talk about?
Let's see. Let's go with. Oh man, who is going to be Tyler Nutsack Matzik? I like him. I think his price is going to go up a little bit because of his because he's been exposed in the World Series. People kind of know his name now. So he probably will go up a little bit. What do you guys think about James Karinchak? He did well at the beginning of the year, and then he
fell off after sticky stuff.
Yeah, he imploded.
Yeah. And then he went back down to the minors. They did demote him. He had a couple of good outings there, came back up, had a couple of good outings. But yeah, he was definitely a sticky stuff guy, which isn't shocking to me at all. But I do think a lot of the guys that were using it, I think they're talented enough, and especially guys like a reliever who only throws 2 pitches and be like, okay, I don't have to learn how to throw all of my pitches without it. I just need to throw 1 without it. I think Karinchak will still be, Clase definitely took over the closer's role. No ifs, ands, or buts there. Right. But I still think he's going to be a good relief pitcher. Maybe not like a 15K per 9 like he was, but like a 12 to 13, I could say.
I was going to say, and Karinchak was already wild to begin with. And there was that time where his stock was going up because he was improving. But yeah, he definitely got exposed last year. Plus, Emmanuel Clase was right there with him as well. And what's that terminology that people like to use? The cream rose to the top there. Clase is a cream.
Well, you see, that was the thing last year was I picked both Clase and Karinchak. Like they were both going like outside of 200, I think. Mm-hmm. And I drafted both of them just in TGFBI. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to handcuff myself. Like, one of these guys is going to be the closers and get 20 plus saves.
Sean, I went down to below 67.9% fastball usage. Who is a guy you are targeting or not targeting from this list, starting with Adam Simber all the way down to JB Wendelken?
Okay. I want to see what the White Sox do with Garrett Crochet this year. Because I think this is a huge year for him.
Yep. Because
if they're going to make him a starter, they got to do it soon. Like you can't leave him in the bullpen for 3-4 years and be like, okay, you're going to be a starter next year. Like that just does not seem like a recipe for success. But it seems that they have no wanting to put him into the rotation. But he was drafted as a starter. And, he made his early debut as a reliever. And I'd be really upset if, Garrett Crochet never gets a chance to start just because their rotation right now is so set. But
hey, Michael Kopech needs his starting innings too, and they're from what I heard, they're looking for another starting pitcher as well. So,
because right now it's what Lynn, Giolito, Cease,
Keuchel.
Oh, what a fucking waste of excuse my language, but what a waste of a roster spot. Oh my God, Dallas Keuchel he makes me mad.
Hey, but he's a clubhouse leader, though. I mean, that's
nobody give him any scissors to go cut up jerseys.
Oh God, Well, Chris Sale was a captain of attitude. There's a difference. Keuchel actually has. Well, I guess Sale eventually won a World Series as well, but Keuchel has World Series pedigree. Anyway,
and he's terrible.
Yeah. Well, the signs were always there, but you obviously signed the guy to provide that veteran leadership and those intangibles that people talk about. I mean, I fell for it, but eventually his shtick is already getting old there with the younger players. So
yeah, I remember the Mets fans when he was a free agent. They were like, "Oh, you got to sign Dallas Keuchel. You got to do it." And I'm just like, no, you do not. No. Stop it. Get some help. The whole Michael Jordan meme, like shit.
And then they're still talking about trading Craig Kimbrell eventually. I mean, their bullpen is just loaded, and if they're just stacking up arms, as we are in the middle of a war here, but if they're stacking up arms just to get ready to trade away Craig Kimbrell for a starter, that may be justified. Austin, let's do what we did last time. What statistic do you want to go from here on out?
Ooh, I get to choose again.
Yeah, I kind of like that little format. Put the pressure on you, and let me just open it up a little bit here. There you go. Swing percentage all the way to hard hit rate over there.
Let's see. Let's do some sort of swing percentage.
Which one?
Let's do outside the strike zone swing percentage.
Swing and miss, or just swing percentage? Oh, this one right here.
Yeah.
All right. Outside the strike zone swing percentage. So basically, I mean, it sounds what it is. It's good pitchers who can throw it outside the strike zone, and the hitters are just going to swing regardless. And at the top of the list, Andrew Kittrich. Those Rays, that Rays team knows how to pick them. Also on that list, Yankee fans should be happy. Jonathan Loaisiga. Also on the top of the list, as always, Emmanuel Clase. Also on the top of the list, Taylor Rogers, and rounding out the top five, Richard Blyer. Who the hell's Richard Blyer? Is he with the Orioles? No. Where's he?
Lefty reliever, Marlins.
Marlins. Right. Okay.
Yeah, ground ball kind of guy, sweepy lefty slider. Yeah,
sweepy. I like that.
Yeah, he's we call him the janitor because he cleans up. Okay, awesome. Well, you got to pick the stack from number 6, Raisel Iglesias, your hometown guy, all the way down to Blake Trinan at number 27. Is there a certain person you want to talk about on this list?
Giovanni Gallegos. I like Giovanni Gallegos at number 9. The closer situation in St. Louis is still kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
They've have like 3 or 4 closers. They've never really settled on one. But I think, if I remember correctly, last season it kind of fell on Gallegos there.
Yep, at the end of the year.
Yeah. So, my guess is they will probably do that again, because he was pretty good, if I remember correctly. He got a 3.02 ERA, he had a 2.75 FIP. So, that's pretty good for a closer. He has a 66 FIP minus and a 75 ERA minus for a reliever, which, when it comes to Fangraphs, you're looking at ERA minus and a FIP minus. The smaller the number, the better.
Yep.
30.6 K percentage, 6.5% walk percentage. So that's pretty good coming from a closer. So, he had a good season last year. I would expect the Cardinals to kind of give the saves load to Gallegos again. So I would look out for Gallegos.
Yeah, and it's a hell of a. And this is the team that made the postseason. But when spring training around this time last year, that whole bullpen was in disarray. Nobody knew what the hell was going on.
Alex Reyes was supposed to start, then Jordan Hicks went down with injury, and everyone was freaking out. And then Alex Reyes was like, "Never mind, you're not going to start. You're going to the bullpen." And then he went on that unbelievable run of saving almost 30 consecutive appearances. And even though he had like a walk per 9 over 6 or something, like it was the craziest thing in the world. And he just was tiptoeing across the top wire. And then at the end of the year, he blew, I think, 4, 5, 6 saves, like all in a month. And then that was when they passed it over to Gallegos. But if Reyes is going to start, I think Gallegos is like the 100% the closer.
And then you still got Genesis Cabrera on just lurking in the background. You mentioned Jordan Hicks. But it's a lot more stable is what I was trying to say. It's a lot more stable this year than it was last year. Last year, it sucked. If you're a fantasy owner and you're looking for a closer and the Cardinals are going to be decent, but they don't have their bullpen in check. Let's see. Right now, the starting 5 is Adam Wainwright, Jake Flaherty, Steven Matz, Dakota Hudson, and Miles Mikolas. So
Jordan Hicks is supposed to be in there somewhere.
No,
it seems unbelievable, but
he's looking like he's in the bullpen at the moment. So we'll see what the Cardinals end up doing. But yeah, the Cardinals look a little bit like the Twins rotation, just a little bit, not a lot, just enough to makes me be mad that the Cubs can't do anything against that. All right, so not Austin, you already got your guy here. Sean, outside the strike zone swing percentage from number 28, make that number 29, Ryan Tepera, all the way down to Chad Green at 50.
Oh, I wanted somebody in the other list. Okay, let's look. 29, Tepera, David Bednar. Closer, Pittsburgh Pirates, absolutely love him, have him everywhere. Closer on a bad team, but he's not a bad pitcher. I think he's a good guy to target, anywhere from probably 15 to 20 saves, really good splitter. Yeah, I don't think he has really much competition at all at the back end of that bullpen.
Chris Stratton.
Okay, yeah, no. Chris Stratton, wasn't he used to be a starter somewhere?
They all used to be starters, man. Come on.
Okay, we started.
Giants, by the way.
I'm thinking
Giants,
of I knew he was a Giant starter. I confuse him all the time with Chris Heston, who threw the no-hitter against the Mets in 2015 in May. Like the guy it was like his 7th major league start, and then he did nothing the rest of his career.
Yeah, Chris Stratton, former first-round pick. Giants look good.
He was a first-round pick. Wow.
Top 20 too, and at that point, the Giants had won a World Series, and their starting pitching prospects, they look very promising. You know, you had Madison Bumgarner, Matt Cain, Tim Lincecum, and you still got Chris Stratton on the pipeline waiting to take over, and it never happened. So again, never trust pitchers.
Yeah, Chris Heston, June 9th, 2015. Throws a no-hitter in what was only his, I think, like 14th start of his career. Chris Heston, Chris Stratton, they're all the same.
All right. Well, as always, I didn't want to spend too much time on the StatCast numbers, but this is just so damn interesting to me. Let's go all the way down to David Robertson at the bottom of the list. But Sean, is there anybody at the bottom of the list that you think is better than their outside the strike zone swing percentage would indicate?
There's a lot of good names that I actually like down here. I like Julian Mayweather. I like what was the guy, right? Corey Knebel. So I think these guys, Josh Dalmont, like I feel like a lot of these guys are better at beating guys in the zone with either, good fastballs up or, really pinning it on the inside, outside corners. So it's weird that a lot of these, a lot of them do have control issues though. A lot of them do have control issues though. So that's why guys might be less likely to swing when they know a guy already has control issues.
I got something for you, but my internet's acting all wonky. Can you guys hear me still?
Yes, we hear you.
Oh man, look, check out this list. This is the 2013, just a random website of the San Francisco Giants. This is right at the sweet spot, right where I was just starting to become a little bit of a sports writer on the side as my side gig. Number 1 for the San Francisco Giants, mind you, this is a World Series championship winning team.
Not in 13. 13 they lost.
12 they won, 2010 they won.
Yeah,
and then
10, 12, and 14.
So they already had 2 championships under their belt. And they had Bumgarner, they have Kane, they have Lincecum, Ryan Vogel's song, which if you guys don't know, Vogel's song means the song from a bird, songbird. They go tweet. That's a perfect name for Twitter right there.
Oh God, it doesn't really fall off the tongue like Twitter does. Vogel song. It's a couple of syllables.
If you're German, it does. It's Vogel song. Okay. Kyle Crick at number 1, Chris Stratton at number 2, Clayton Blackburn at number 3, Keith Hembry at number 6, and Michael Kickham at number 7. That was supposed to be the next generation of starting pitcher. And then Chris Heston, Sean, you mentioned at number 12, but that was supposed to be Stephen Okert. He's somewhere on this list. I swear to God, I just saw he just kind of was like an afterthought on these relief pitching. Let me see if I can find them really quick.
He was like Marlins or Rockies. I want to say one of those 2 teams.
Yeah, he's in the Marlins. Number 4 in the depth chart here on my spreadsheet here. Wow, the Giants. Adalberto Mejia. Holy crap. See, Sean, this is why Adam Duvall's also on this list, by the way. This is why we always talk about some of these fringe minor leaguers, because you never know, man. You think they're going to be, flying off the face of the planet one of these days. And 2022, you're talking about them just in passing. So don't give up. Don't give up at all. You're starting pitchers out there who aren't in the top 20 list and don't pan out. You can always make it back on this show as a relief pitcher. Just know that.
You got a chance.
So you got your guy in. Austin, any other column you want to go to after this one?
Oh, I get to pick the stat again?
Yeah, I kind of like it. I like that randomization.
Let's go with Should we do whiff percentage?
Okay.
Ooh,
You don't have to tell me twice. And as soon as this thing loads up, here we go. Let's start from the bottom to the top. You got Tyler Rogers, everybody's favorite submariner over there from San Francisco. Number 1, lowest whiff rate, I should say. And Dylan Flora, who's supposed to start be the closer for the Marlins. Is there somebody from number 1 to number 22 you want to talk about here?
Me?
Yeah. Sorry.
Let's see. Oh, Mark Melanson. It's a big name to be down at the bottom of this list here.
Yep. Diamondbacks Closer, apparently.
Diamondbacks Closer. I mean, Melanson's not a bad pitcher. Or I think he's going to be what Sean is describing as a good closer on a bad team. So, I think Melanson's worth a look. But I just want to point out again, look, fifth lowest whiff percentage, Brusdar Gratterall, but yet he throws 100-mile-an-hour sinker. How the hell does that happen? Don't trust Brusdar Gratterall. I'm going to pick up Mark Melanson over Brusdar Gratterall any day.
All right, so you Mark Melanson and Brusdar Gratterall. Let's move on to the next generation or the next tier up there from the bottom to the top. And we start with Tyler Whitener, another Diamondbacks pitcher, if I remember correctly, and all the way down to Tim Meza. I believe he's from the Blue Jays. Sean, who do you want to talk about here?
Oh gosh, I really don't like any of these.
Andrew
Chafin. I'll go with wait, no. Where was my cutoff? I think I went past to Tim Meza. Yeah, I went past my cutoff.
We can go down. We can go down. Where is it? What number is it?
52.
Oh, damn, you went really down. All right,
That's 8. That's 8 past Meza. Come on now.
Really down.
You didn't follow the assignment, Sean.
It says what was the post on Facebook the other day? You had to pick the 4 for the Mount Rushmore for the Angels, and Austin comes out here with like 27 names. And I'm like, I thought teachers were supposed to be good with instructions.
Not when you're talking about the Angels, apparently. Well, you know what? He misunderstood. He thought he wanted the Mount Rushmore of Angels if you could build a roster from number 1 to 27 now, because they keep expanding the roster sizes. What was it? Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani.
I didn't pick Ohtani. Ohtani was not on my list.
Who was your 4? Just your 4.
4.
Just the 4.
That's not fair. Let's see. Trout,
Gun to your head.
Guerrero.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
Gun to your head. Just call it out.
Garrett Anderson.
Yes.
Sean Figgins.
Sean Figgins. All right.
Sean Figgins. That's a fun name.
Yeah, it's a fun player too. All right. So who's your guy again, Sean?
Andrew Chafin down at 52.
Oh, okay. Number 52. What? Look out for him. Don't look out for him.
I think he's the top lefty probably left in free agency. Him, Jake Diekman, hell, even Chasen Shreve. But Chafin, had a career year. Had a 2.06 ERA between Oakland and the Cubs. Despite being kind of middling of the road when it came to whiff percentage, 47th percentile, he was on the 90th percentile in terms of chase rate. So he's getting a lot of the weak contact on the pitches, like out of the zone on a sinker and slider. Not a huge strikeout guy, good ground ball pitcher. I think he's a quality lefty, and the Mets really, if they want to replace Aaron Loop, I think Andrew Chafin's the guy to get.
All right, and let's look at the top of the list really quick. Again, let's see. Josh Hader, Craig Kimbrell, Devin Williams. These are all good guys. Art Warren is a name I'm keeping an eye on. I believe he's with the Reds, right? Where is he at?
Yes.
Okay,
I think he was originally a Yankee, but he got traded to the Reds, yeah.
Oh, okay. Jake Cousins, I mentioned him earlier as a guy I'm kind of looking at keeping an eye on, even though he's not going to be the closer, but this is why I find these two guys, Art Warren and Jake Cousins. So I guess those are my guys at the top of the list. Alex Veja. So that's obvious. The good players are the good players, but is there any concern? Let's start with Tanner Scott, number 11, Sean. We'll start with you. All the way down to number 32nd, Emmanuel Clase. Is there anybody that's kind of concerning at the top of the whiff rate here?
Trying to think. Lucas Sims has been a pretty popular target for the Cincinnati bullpen. But in the last couple of days, at 16, in the last couple of days, it was reported that he had just started throwing bullpens, or he was just throwing off a mound, like starting last week. So even though he's a relief pitcher, and he can ramp up a little bit quicker. He might miss some time, but he's a guy that's being drafted kind of like we expect him to be the closer for Cincinnati, when I think their bullpen is just as much up in the air as a lot of other teams, especially teams that are competing.
All right. Well, that's why I mentioned Art Warren, right? Because Lucas.
He's considered the setup guy in the 7th. Luis Sessa, which is just weird that he's considered setup in the 8th.
No, that's why why on my list I have Art Warren at number 2. I don't care about Luis Sessa. I'm like Russia when it comes to Ukraine. I'm looking Art Warren like he belongs to me.
Oh God,
he's my Crimea
River. Oh no, I remember that. That was SNL, right?
Was it? What?
Yeah, the Crimea River. Yeah, that was.
Oh, was that a thing? I missed it.
Oh yeah, it was an entire thing.
Crimea River, Timberlake, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a fake. I don't think it might have been actual Justin Timberlake. I'm not sure. But,
Crimea River.
But yeah, Amir Garrett is a guy I think to keep a name on.
I'm done with him.
No, you're done with him? You're done with him?
He always okay. Well,
he had a terrible 2021. I agree. He had a terrible 2021.
Every time I have hope for Amir Garrett, and then he's right there at the top of the number 29 at the whiff rate. And I'm glad you brought him up. I mean, the Reds are every year the Reds come out with a promising bullpen, and every year they let me down. And at the personification of all that is Amir Garrett. He still has command issues. I mean, but he, like we talk about this, Sean, all the time. He looks the part. Why isn't he the part? He's the Nomar Mazara of relief pitchers when it comes to closers. So, and he's left-handed too. That's another issue. They might be comfortable with him being the lefty dominant late inning guy. So, but no, this Art Warren guy he's tickled my fancy, and I want him. I want him like Russia wants all the nuclear facilities in Ukraine.
Saying tickle my fancy and then I want him almost makes me want to put you on like some sort of watch list. Like Art Warren's going to get kidnapped out of wherever they play their spring training. And when I hear that news, I'm immediately going to
Florida, man.
Well, no, do the Reds? I think they play in Arizona.
I don't know anymore.
You don't want to go get the dry heat?
I always keep my heat, brother. I always carry that torch. Let's say we're running late. I can't help myself. Let's just keep going. So Amir Garrett, we're passing him. We talked about Jose.
Are we talking about Amir Garrett's relevancy for fantasy baseball or the fantasy baseball players fight league? Because then I'm picking Amir Garrett number 1.
Yeah, he's a 1-1 in a fight league for sure.
Well, you guys.
He's got that hella good reach too. Long arms, like 6'6",
long arms, and he'll challenge an entire team. Yeah. I'm going.
Now, here's my Mount Rushmore. My Mount Rushmore of fighters. Fighting pitchers, right? Chris Sale. Jeff Samardzija, because Hawk Harrelson told me that those two are captains of attitude because they fight all the time. Amir Garrett and Nolan Ryan.
I was hoping you'd pick Nolan Ryan.
I feel like I'd have to put Al Hrabosky on mine just to be like that 4th guy who isn't really the best fighter, but he absolutely scares the shit out of whoever you're fighting. Because
that's a different list.
No. Every fighting team needs a guy that scares the other guys.
That's an intimidation thing.
Yeah. You got to. That's why you get the Mad Hungarian. He's your intimidator. Is he really
a fighter?
Yeah. He's like Steve Carell in Anchorman who just runs into the fight holding a grenade. Like that's how I'd imagine him.
I didn't know what picked Pedro.
I don't know.
He didn't throw any punches, right? He just pulled him down.
He still fought people. He fought like he was in like 2 or 3 balls.
I said what I said, man. I mean, you weren't there in 2012, 2013 when captains of attitude were keeping other teams in check while the White Sox went to a losing record that year. So
did Samardzija pitch for the White Sox?
Yeah. They traded Marcus Semien for him too.
Oh.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, that was an interesting trade.
Yeah, I'm seeing that now. I didn't realize he pitched an entire year for him.
Josh Fegley too. Yeah, Josh Fegley went to Oakland that year. And there was a 3rd guy on that list, and I forget his name. We'll look it up some other time. All right, who talked last? I want to get one more pitcher, maybe 2 more pitchers on the whiff rate here. Who was the last person to talk about their pitcher? Was it Sean or Austin?
No, it was me. So go to Austin.
Okay, Austin. Who's your guy here? Number 33, Will Smith, all the way down to Gregory Soto at number 54.
Is he still on there? Nope, he's a little bit higher. Damn. Let's see.
Who were you talking about?
I was gonna talk about Jake Diekman.
Well, let's talk about Jake Diekman.
Diekman, I think, is going to be a really interesting pick. He's a free agent right now.
Oh, jeez, he's all the way up here. What number is he?
I don't remember. That's why I was like, was he on the list? I don't remember.
All right, I thought he was somewhere maybe a number a little bit higher than that. No, he's like nowhere to be found.
No, he was up there. I'm trying to look.
Well, if you need time, Sean, do you have someone you want to talk to?
I need a minute.
We sold whiff. What was the spot?
Whiff rate 33 to 54.
33 to 54.
Will Smith.
Is that the Luis Garcia for the Astros?
No, that's a different Luis Garcia.
Is that a different?
This is the Padres.
Yeah, that's Padres Luis Garcia. Let's see. Let's go with 33 to 54.
Everybody needs time.
Brooks. No, actually, Miguel Castro. I had to go with the Mets. I almost went Brooks Raley because Brooks Raley is a really interesting reliever. Astros are Reds now. Anyway, Miguel Castro is the guy. Has, I think, the best stuff of any reliever in the league. It's just a matter of getting all of them to work at the same time. Because last year he started off and his changeup was great, and he was doing better with his changeup and slider and just like mixing in the fastball. And then he lost the slider, and he was like, crap, I got to go throw more fastballs. The changeup was still good. And then the changeup left, and the fastball was really good. And it was like so frustrating because all three pitches are absolutely plus, and they're never plus at the same time.
Also on those lists, guys that I like, Dinelson Lamet, I mentioned him earlier. Trevor May, even though
Chad Green was good last year for
Chad Green, always dependable as a relief pitcher, even in 5x5 because he keeps the rate stats low. Is that your guy there, Austin? Chad Green?
Yeah, I guess we'll go Chad Green. I was thinking maybe Ryan Presley, but I guess my guy would be Chad Green because he's so dependable.
All right. Let's see here. The deal. Let's see.
Brooks Raley. Never mind. I was going to say he's on the Cubs now, but that was just the team that drafted him.
Here it is. The Athletics decided to trade Jeff Samardzija to the White Sox in exchange for Marcus Semien, Josh Phegley,
Chris Bassett, who was just traded,
and Rangel Ravello.
Yeah, he had a crazy good year in the minors after being traded to the Dodgers AAA last year, and now he's going to go to the KBO.
Yeah, that was kind of a win for the White Sox. And then Marcus Semien blew up, and Josh Phegley ended up being a serviceable catcher. Chris Bassett, we talked about it the last week or so.
I feel like the trade Samardzija to the A's was a fun names. Dan Straley, Addison Russell, and Billy McKinney.
Yeah,
all three of those became major league players.
Yeah, I mean, Epstein knew what he was doing back then.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
You ready for this? So I'm on a website called MLBTradeTrees.com. So
yes, thank you. I was looking for that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Jeff Samardzija, when he was on the Cubs, was traded from the Cubs to the Yankees, right? No, to the A's. A's. For Billy McKinney, Dan Straley, Addison Russell, and a player to be named later. Mm-hmm. Billy McKinney was later traded to the Yankees for Aroldis Chapman.
Yep.
Yeah.
And four other guys. Gleyber Torres.
Gleyber Torres and Rashad Crawford.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we talked about his trade from the A's to the White Sox for Ravello, Josh Phegley, Marcus Semien, and Chris Bassett.
Yep. Let's see. Ravello didn't debut until last year. Wait, I just saw Yanoa's name. Yanoa? Why is Yanoa's name? Which Yanoa?
That was Michael Yanoa. He was a part of. Right. He was traded with Samardzija.
I see. Okay. All right. Enough of that. Last spreadsheet of the projection season. I got it by projected points. So Austin, you'll appreciate that these are the what I'm looking for. The point configurations for our Mardi Gras Madness League. Our keepers are due today. And Josh Hader at the top of the list. Liam Hendricks number 2. Rice Iglesias number 3. Edwin Diaz, Ryan Presley, Will Smith, Aroldis Chapman, Emilio Clase, Jordan Romano, and Giovanni Gallegos round out the top 10. Let's start with Sean. Let's go outside the top 10 really quick in the projected points. Is there somebody from 11 to 33 that you're like, I want to target him in drafts?
Probably going to be Scott Barlow of the Royals.
That's what I was going to pick.
Really good year last year. Really nice, nasty slider. And as much as we love Josh Stalmont, I think Scott Barlow is the better relief pitcher.
I was going to ask you if you're not concerned because it's just not Stalmont. There's a couple of guys there that look interesting for the Royals.
Yeah, and Scott Barlow is one of them. And I believe Blake Trinan, who's up there at 12. All of his value right now is determined if Kenley Jansen comes back. If Kenley Jansen doesn't come back, Blake Trinan might be like one of the best values among relief pitchers out there.
Yeah.
Because on that team, with how good he's been the last couple of years, he could put up, I think he could outperform guys like Hader and Hendricks if he's the closer for the Dodgers.
By the way, the rest of the competition for the Royals, Josh Stalman, Jake Brentz, Dylan Coleman, Gabe Spire. I know these are not household names, but it's something to keep back of mind that Barlow, if he messes up, the Royals might not hesitate to pull him out and replace him with some of these other guys that I just mentioned, because they might be better than most people think. I mean, they're not world beaters, but just a little concerned there. Yeah. Austin, who's your guy on this list here?
I was looking at 2, but I think I'm going to narrow it to 1. And I think one that I'm going to look, the one that I'm going to target is Garrett Whitlock, number 13.
Thank you, Garrett Whitlock, number 13. Yeah, he's penciled in as the closer for now. But again, this is why I hate the closer situations with these teams. I mean, they got some guys there in Boston too, and they're ready to compete as well. Matt Barnes is behind him, Josh Taylor, Ryan Brazier.
I mean, honestly, right now the Red Sox are at six-man rotation. Whitlock, I don't think it would take much to get Whitlock in front of someone like Michael Wacha. Like, honestly. I think Whitlock might ends up starting more than he does close.
Wow, that's wow. I never thought I would see that, but he's only 26 years old, so maybe that's something the Red Sox want to do is give him that opportunity to see if his stuff translates to a rotation spot here. Let's move further down the list. Now we're getting very into murky waters. Guys who may not be the full-time closers, but I guess this would be deep sleepers, I guess. So let's start with Austin from number 30, Andrew Kittrich, all the way down to number 52, Tyler Rogers. Who's a guy you are keeping an eye on late in the drafts?
Late in the drafts, I think it would have to be. Let's do Hector Neris.
Yes.
Is he a free agent or is he still on? Oh, he's on with the Astros now.
On the Astros.
Oh, I have him listed as the Astros. Yeah,
he was another pre-lockout signing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would go with Hector Neris. I mean, this is saying he's projected to have 17 holds, 3 Ks per walk, 11 Ks per 9. You know, I'd picked up, and he's going to be on a good team in the Astros. So yeah, I'll look at Hector Neris.
I mean, you guys know why Hector Neris left the Phillies, right?
Because they wouldn't let him throw a splitter.
No, because his ERA against every other team not called the Mets is, I think, sub 2.5.
Oh wow!
And his ERA against the Mets is, I think, 5 or 6. And he faces the Mets so much. But that it's like the wildest thing. He's so good, and then anytime the Mets face him, he absolutely falls apart.
I wish they would do away with this stupid unbalanced schedule already. I know why they did it. I know that everybody asked for it, but it's just getting ridiculous. That
sounds like Vince has been posting that they're trying to do that. They're trying to balance the schedule back out.
Yeah. I would get rid of all the divisions. You know what?
Get rid of it. We want anarchy, no divisions.
1 through 30. There's no more. I mean, there's no more pitchers or the hitting. Everybody's a DH. There's interleague. Might as well just. All right, this is how you do it. I think I talked about this before throughout the group here, but let's see. You got 29 teams. If you have them face 5 times a year, every team you face, you got to face them 5 times. Not in a series, just 5 games. 5 games each. That's 145 games. That's the way baseball was back in the early 20th century. And then you're already expanding the playoffs anyway. You make all your money in the playoffs anyway. That's all that anybody cares a shit about is the freaking playoffs anyway. Regular season doesn't matter.
You put them all in. Everybody gets a trophy.
Well, no, I didn't say all that now. I mean, I didn't say all that. I just said you just have these teams face each other 5 times a year, 5 games a year. And no more complaint. Oh, that's not fair because he plays in the NL Central, the AL Central, and that division's weak, and the AL East is where all the good teams are. No, you take that away from them. You take away that unbalanced aspect of it. Everybody plays each other 5 games a year, and it's fair and balanced. And you know what they do? You do home and away every year, right? Like they do in college football. Well, this year Oklahoma goes to Oklahoma State. Next year they'll go into Norman. It's the same thing. This year the Yankees go into Boston. And then next year, the Red Sox will go into Yankee Stadium, and maybe I'll get that. I don't know. I'm just trying to think outside the box.
Then the teams can't make their rivalry money.
Yeah, I know.
They'd be very sad. But I have mine ready to go on the points, projected points, by the way.
Oh, what your guy here on the
between whatever the number 30 and 54.
Okay, fine, 54. Sure.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about him on a previous. Yeah, I know. I'm super congested. I'm sorry, guys.
No, your New York accent came out right there, or your Eastport accent came out.
The closer for the Orioles. He didn't pick up the closer's job till the end of the year, and then he missed like the last week or so. He's a former starter who had been claimed off of waivers in 2020. Didn't pitch at all from the end of 2019 when he was in Double-A as a starter till 21 when he was with the Orioles, and he has 3 really nasty pitches. Batters batted under 200 against all of them, both his 4-seamer, slider, changeup. They whiffed over 30% on both the slider and changeup. Tyler Wells is a name you guys need to remember because I think he's locked in as their closer. He's got a lot of doesn't walk guys, doesn't really have control issues, fills up the zone, nasty high velo fastball with a good spin, good slider. I really like Tyler Wells, and I think he's going to be a good value.
Oh, I think, he is listed as a closer, but Cole Sulzer is right behind him as well. So it's a little bit of a competition going on there. It's good to know that you have a preference there.
Yeah, I had him. He was in our 30 team daily, and I picked him up, and he actually kind of was unlucky this year. He does give up a good bit of hard contact, but he gets a lot of whiffs, gets a lot of chases. And he doesn't walk guys. So whenever I see a guy that gets a lot of chase but doesn't walk guys necessarily, I'm willing to take a risk on him.
Right. Oops. Did something wrong here. Uh-oh. What did I do? Oh, what? Whoa. What did I do here?
Uh-oh.
What happened to my colors? No, I got to have my colors. I also did it projected points by holds. So I gave holds 10 points each for a hold. And again, still, if you do, it actually moves Liam Hendricks up the leaderboard ahead of Josh Hader now. There's Giovanni Gallegos now at number 3. And we see, let me see, where is the first guy who is not a traditional? I guess Pierce Johnson. I know he's listed as a closer for the Padres, but as I mentioned, the Padres are loaded with relief pitchers. And so if you value holds at 10 points apiece, just like you do saves at 10 points apiece, Pierce Johnson goes all the way up to number 15. Compared to the 288.5 points that he's projected to get according to ATC, because he's only going to get 16 saves. Well, you add another 17 holds at 10 points each, he goes up to number 15. I guess, Sean, let's start with you. Buy or sell Pierce Johnson being a very reliable relief pitcher in holds leagues as well.
I'm completely indifferent towards him.
Why don't you like him?
I'm trying to find UFO Tyler Rogers. I would think he was one of the league leaders in holds last year, but he's not appearing on this list. Anyway, Pierce Johnson. I don't want to. They need an established good closer.
Emilio Pagan, that's your guy.
Dinelson
Lamet. Then
I don't think Dinelson Lamet is healthy. I think he's cooked.
They were saying that he was ready to go. I thought.
Oh God, he's in the best shape of his life.
I don't know. At least now he doesn't have to start anymore. So that should help him out. And we always thought, hey, if this starting thing, and that's a prime example. If this starting pitching thing doesn't go the way we think it will go, at least he can become a relief pitcher. That's him in a nutshell. Dinelson Lamet, great fastball, great slider.
Okay. I did find Tyler Rogers. He's in between Mark Melancon and Jorge Alcala at 34. I would have expected him to be higher in a very valuable holds format.
Yeah, that is weird. He's only projected to get 18 holds for some reason. So,
Yeah.
well, that's still high though. So,
No, I want to say he like had a stupid amount of holds last year. I mean, it helps when your team wins a lot of games, but
oh, absolutely.
yeah, he had 30 holds last year.
Austin, who's your guy? I guess we'll go from number 16 down. Is there somebody you want to talk about? Somebody that might be valuable this year that people might not know? Or is there a guy you are wary of? Who's your pick?
I was actually looking at Gregory Soto.
Good or bad?
Good.
Oh, okay.
Because I think the Tigers are going to be better this year. So with the Tigers being better this year, I think Gregory Soto will have more opportunities for saves or holds or whatever. It looks like he's listed as a closer right now. Left-hander, 27 years old. I think the addition to Tucker Barnhart will be interesting for the pitching staff. So I would be eyeing Gregory Soto. I don't know if I'd necessarily draft him right off the bat, but I would be eyeing him.
By the way, from the San Diego Union Tribune, just a day or two ago, they interviewed the general manager for the Padres, and they're asking how did Nelson Lamet look like an ace on the staff a couple years ago? Injuries came and derailed him. What is your understanding about where he's at? How might you guys see him? From what I understand, he feels healthy again. I think it's based on potentially the health of the rest of the guys in the rotation. I feel like he has the potential to be a wipeout reliever in a one-time around or maybe a late inning option. I think we have some options. I'm getting ahead of myself because I want to talk to him about it first. But this so he has to ask permission.
Oh my God.
Very talented guy.
Red flag.
Really? I think this is very optimistic. You look at the bullpen these days and who you're bringing in at certain spots and where you need a strikeout. I think the sky's the limit. The ceiling is the roof. Obviously, health comes first, but we're going to try to get him in the best spot to help the team.
God.
Is there closer on the roster? They ask him. We'll have to see one of these guys get there, get here. There are some really talented guys who throw hard and strike people out. Lamet is one of those guys. I don't know how that's going to evolve. Obviously, AJ Preller, the president of baseball operations, he's still on the team. I didn't know that. Has made some moves in the past, so that's another factor. Could the closer be on a roster right now? Absolutely, he says. We'll see how the rest of the spring plays out as far as moves go. So yeah, might be a competition in San Diego for that closer role.
Jesus.
I'm optimistic.
Right? Oh, I'm not at all. That depends on that depends on if he feels healthy. It doesn't matter how he feels if he's healthy. It matters if he's healthy.
No, I think he's healthy.
Baseball doesn't care about your feelings. If it did, I wouldn't be a Mets fan.
Sure you do. You look at some of the people in baseball life. You talk bad about their favorite teams or favorite players. They start crying like little shitheads and bitches. So let's see, who were we? Oh, these are the projected points, holds. So I as you see, a lot of guys now start to matter when you give an equal amount of point value to holds as you do to saves. There's Jorge Alcala, Tyler Rogers, Jonathan Loaiza, Hector Neris, guys we talked about, Alex Reyes, Anthony Bender. I mean, Alex Reyes doesn't matter if he's a closer or not. I mean, if holds are equal amounts to saves, then he's just as valuable. There's a lot of guys that we talked about. So let's start with number 43, Daniel Hudson. Austin, let's start with you. Good or bad? From Daniel Hudson at number 43 all the way down to 65, Michael Fulmer. Who do you want to talk about from this list?
Let's see.
What's the sorted by again?
Oh, projected points by holds. So holds are equal to 10 points, just like saves in this projection.
Man. Let's go. We've already talked about Fulmer. There's a lot of them on here we've already talked about.
Yeah.
You know what I think is funny that we haven't talked about is Kendall Grayman. And I'm gonna say Kendall Grayman. I think his stock goes down this year. I think the year he had with the Astros and the Mariners, especially, I think that was kind of a fluke year because then he went to the Astros as the setup guy, and his value immediately went down. He wasn't producing fantasy wise like he did with the Mariners because his role changed, and now his role has changed even more because that back end of the bullpen is filled with Kimbrel and Hendricks and Bummer and people like that.
Joe Kelly now, yeah.
Yeah, and Joe Kelly. So now you're seeing Kendall Grayman has moved his role to he's a sixth inning middle relief guy. So, some people may draft him because, he had a really good season last year as a closer and the setup man, but I would not draft Kendall Grayman because his role has changed.
Well, when you get down to this list, especially when you're equaling holds as much as saves, I mean, you're looking to see, okay, can Kendall Grayman give me holds? Or if you're in a 5x5 league, can I use him as a guy that will keep my rate stats low? My whip is going to be low because of him. My ERA is going to be low. My walk, or if you're in a league like our crazy league, can he not give up walks?
Yeah.
He has very good control. I mean, you're seeing it right there. Walk per 9 at 3.06. Can he keep the hitters at bay? He's only giving up 7.76 hits per 9, and that's despite the fact that compared to everybody else, he's a pitch to contact pitcher compared to everybody else. What were we going to say? I'm sorry.
Can six inning middle relief guys get holds?
He's projected to get 19. I mean,
you can get holds. You can get holds in the 16 or in the
holds
six.
is such a random thing.
Yeah, it's a convoluted rule.
But I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, the good guys get the holds.
Winning teams, relievers on winning teams get holds. Yeah,
yeah, and he's on a reliever on a winning team. So I get it. If you're in a traditional 5x5 or if you're in a points league like our league, Austin, where saves are kings. I mean, you're seeing it right here. He's only projected to get 156 points if he's lucky in our league. But if he's in a holds league, I mean, his stock goes way up. So it's something to consider. And that's all. That's why I'm asking about these lower, so-called lower level relief pitchers. It's not that they're lower level; it's just that their value isn't adjusted accordingly. But if they're in a holds league, or if you're in a crazy categories league like the one Sean and I are in, he's not that bad. You could do a lot worse. You could do Rowan Wick to be your guy, and Rowan Wick gives up 4 walks per 9 inning. So, and he's supposed to be projected to get a 4.07 ERA. I don't know, Rowan Wick or Kendall Grayman.
Kendall Grayman.
Yeah. So that's all we're doing on this exercise. Let's keep going down for Sean from 66, Daniel Bard, all the way down to Spencer Patton, I guess. Who's your guy? Good or bad?
Ken Giles. I think it'll be interesting to see how Ken Giles comes back this year.
Ooh, yeah.
He's a guy you could get at the very end and could be closing games by like May. Like, I think he's a very, because it's not risky because you don't have to pay much for him.
What number is he at? What ranking is he?
83.
83. Okay, I can see it now. He's on a good team. I'll give you that. He's on a very good team.
And I definitely think he's going to be more towards the back end than the 6th inning as listed here.
The Mariners are loaded, though. That's another.
Yeah,
concern.
I mean, him, Andres Munoz, but a lot of them are almost all of them are coming back from some form of injury. So I think it's just going to be whichever one kind of establishes themselves first. I mean, I like Andres Munoz. I like Drew Steckenrider. I like Paul Sewald, but I think Ken Giles has the ability to really be like the guy they go to in the 9th, while Steckenrider, Sewald, and them are kind of like the firemen, and then you have like a setup guy of Andres Munoz or somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Mariners bullpen this year. There's a lot to love about them. How are we doing on time? Are we at the 90-minute mark already?
Yeah, just about.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Time flies when you're having fun. All right, last thing. We'll go with strikeout per 9, I guess, because why not? So it's who's who of really good relief pitchers here. But then you got a guy like Brad Wick. He's supposed to. I have him listed as maybe the next man up, even though he's 6th inning. Personally, I have him listed as my next guy up. If Rowan Wick, so all these guys have the same names with the Cubs. If Rowan Wick falters, here comes Brad Wick. Austin, is there a guy that you see on this list that, hey, if this guy falters, I like that name X is here to back him up?
Let's see. Oh man, I need a minute.
Sean, go ahead. Intervene if you have one. You're on mute.
Yeah. Probably Paul Sewald, another Mariners guy I just mentioned. Had a really good. Though. I don't think he'll be the closer. I said, I don't think he'll be the out and out closer.
You think there's a closer by committee going on with Seattle?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be Like I said, I think Munoz has a really good chance. I think Giles has a really good chance, but Seawald might be like their high, volume guy. Like I could see Seawald possibly throwing 70 innings, which is like a lot for a relief pitcher. I could see him doing that. Because how many did he throw in 21? He threw 64. I could see him going 70, 80.
Okay. Another guy worth mentioning here is Tanner Scott. Like Sean, you know me, man. I'm not gonna give up.
We can't give up on Tanner Scott. He's too good.
Give him up. Never gonna let him down.
I think we've officially jumped the shark for today.
Yeah.
Felipe is singing Rickroll.
Austin, you have a name there? You still need a time or
No, I think Pete Fairbanks.
Yes.
I like that one.
Pete Fairbanks. Yeah. He is 23rd.
Thank you. I can't find him in my own list.
Yeah, he's the setup guy right now, but I mean that Rays bullpen is loaded. I mean, you're gonna put anybody in that closer's role and they're gonna do it. I like Pete Fairbanks. He is projected. He's even projected to have. Oh no, he's projected to have 19 holds, 7 saves. I mean, 11 Ks per 9. I think I really like Pete Fairbanks, but there again, I like most anybody on the Rays. So
the Rays are loaded.
I think this is the second or third Rays pitcher that I've talked about in this podcast alone. So
Jake Cousins, I mentioned him earlier today. This K9 is going to look good. He's not going to give up a lot of hits. Home runs are going to be kept in check according to ATC projections. ERA looks solid. What about the whip is a little high, so are the walks. But I look at Jake Cousins' K per 9 and I can't look away. I'm salivating. I want him. In the event that Josh Hader gets traded, Devin Williams punches another wall, Jay Cousins is right there, just waiting to vulture things up. And let's finish up with the next round of guys here. We talked about Pierce Johnson, Chad Green, Hector Neris. Let's start with Jake Jackson. Sean, let's start with you. Jake Jackson all the way down to Diego Castillo. You know what? If you have another guy.
What's the numbers on him?
39 to 61. But you know what? I'm feeling like do whoever you want at this point.
Okay.
If he's not listed at right here, or if he's lower than that, just call it out. Just let me know what number he's.
That's what he's been doing anyway. He's called 2 or 3 of them.
Well, now I'm not gonna call him out against it. Just do whatever, Sean. It's your show. I'm just here running it for you.
Let's see. I don't know. I feel like we've talked about every relief pitcher that actually is fun to talk about. Like I could say Will Smith from the Braves. Like, he's gonna have saves. Will Smith's a guy I can't bring myself to draft. I don't think he's that good of a pitcher. I just think he's going to get saves on a possibly winning team, depending on where Freeman goes. But I don't know. Will Smith's a guy I've generally avoided, so he's over at number 45 and K per 9 on your list.
Yeah, I see him now. What about you, Austin? You got a guy there?
All right, I'll go a little off. So I don't know. Well, he's injured right now, so he's probably not on the list. So I was gonna say there isn't. Oh, he's a starter anyway. Never mind. I was gonna do a homer pick and pick Chris Rodriguez, but he's listed as a starter. So let's go with. I mean, you can't talk enough about Anthony Gose. I mean, what a great story. He's a former outfielder. Didn't pan out. He decided he was going to pitch, and now he throws 97.
Oh no, he throws like 99, 100.
Yeah,
he's like super high velo as a lefty.
Yeah, super high velo. Right now, he's set up as a 7th inning man. I don't know. I like Anthony Gose. The Guardians have a good pitching staff.
Yeah.
There's going to be Emmanuel Clase, but I believe Karen Shack was listed as the 8th inning man. And so if Karen Shack blows up again, you could have Gose as the 8th inning man and have him get him more holds, which would prove him to be a little more valuable in your fantasy league. So I would keep a look at Anthony Gose in case Karen Shack blows up again.
I'm really surprised we have an Angels fan and he has not talked about Mike Mayers.
Mike Mayers, I don't know. Mike Mayers, he was good, and then he had a good season, and then he had a bad season. He was okay on the Cardinals. I'm not sure what to think about Mike Mayers. I like him, but then at the same time, he's a little inconsistent.
All right. And that's the list. I mean, we could talk all day. I didn't even get a chance to talk about the FIP guys, the WHIP guys, all those other acronyms. But no, time flies when you're having fun. And I felt like it was important to finish off this season preview with a bang. Instead of doing it 2 weeks, we'll just do it in one sitting and just get these projections out of the way. Next week is going to be big. We should have an idea as to when the season starts. I know a lot of drafts have been delayed. I know our draft, Sean, has been delayed because of it. I've been working on just my rankings this whole time. You know, there's no sense of urgency because of the lockout.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I was saying they said April 7th.
Well, it's not official. They say April 7th, but
I thought it was official.
Well, I feel like, I looked it up and it said that they're targeting April 7th, but it's not. I didn't see anything etched in stone.
I hadn't heard that. I thought it was like confirmed April 7th, be there, be square.
Well, I mean, do they even have a schedule out?
Yeah, I want to say they were updating the schedules.
They are, or yeah. Has it been released?
Yeah, right here. Mets 2022 schedule. Because they were like had it updated so fast when they canceled those first few series. Like those were on the MLB's website were already like those games were just gone. Yeah, MLB opening day will be on April 7th.
Okay, well, there you go.
Will begin on March 17th. The full schedule has been updated. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, I was just, I mean, I told Austin, don't bother. I mean, you can bother me, but my phone is going to be in the other room. I know I don't want anybody bothering me because I'm going to be working on these rankings. And before I started, I did check, okay, when does the season start? And all I saw was it might start April 7th. They're still working on it. Like, oh, for freaking sake. But no, that's about 2-3 weeks away then.
Yeah, about 3.5 weeks.
All right. So there you go. You guys have 3.5 weeks to scramble and get your fantasy drafts going. But that's a good place to stop right there. I am Felipe. That's Sean over there. That's Austin. We will see you next time.
Adios.
Have a good one, everyone.